Hey guys, it's Deena, your mindset evolutionary here at flynubianqueen.com, the network for melanated women just like you and me. Welcome, everybody. I hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful Sunday evening. Thank you for joining me here at flynubianqueen.com on Facebook, and of course with the rebroadcast on YouTube. So I'm going to allow a few people to come into the digital room right now. And while I do that, I'm just going to promote, if you haven't already, please give us the thumbs up, the like, the share, the subscribe. I'm so happy to see you guys here. Let's see, if you haven't already, please go check out flynubianmoney.com so you can learn about your financials, get your mind right around money, understand how to invest, etc., etc. Go to flynubianbusiness.com if you have a business idea and want to see how you can get that started. And also, we'd love for you to support us by shopping at shopfnq.com. Go pick up some merch and some gear. I have a nice, I love the fact that I have a growing number every week of people who come in and join us here at flynubianqueen.com with Deena Jacobs Live, your mindset evolutionary. Tonight we are going to discuss something that is very controversial, and it is about the angry Black woman stereotype. How do we honor ourselves and heal the angry Black woman? How do we do both? I want us to take a look at this because this particular video is going to deal with us breaking free from stereotypes and cultivating self-love as Black women. So I want to jump right into this because we have a lot to cover tonight. And I am going to be referencing one of my favorite people to kind of help us understand the process of emotional emancipation from mental slavery, who is Dr. Cheryl Tawede Grills. Please look her up. She is one of the foremost authorities on psychological health of communities, in particular helping Black people to free themselves emotionally from, I guess, the residual effects of slavery. So we want to get started. First off, I have a lot of notes. And of course, hey, put your comments in. Let me know where you guys are tonight. And we're going to get started. Thank you for all the thumbs up. Who's in the house? Let me see some of those comments start to come in. I just want to make sure it's working. So how do we honor ourselves? How do we cultivate self-love as Black women? And how do we heal the angry Black woman? Right? So let's get a quick soundbite from Dr. Grills.
About it to self-correct. If you want to change a person, the first thing you must do is to change their awareness of themselves. So it starts with consciousness.
So right there we have Dr. Grills talking about how do we change ourselves. We have to start with consciousness, right? And so I had talked to you guys about this a couple of videos ago when I was looking at one of her other videos where she was talking about emancipation from mental slavery. And that's something she touched on there as well. So we touch on, if you guys will allow me tonight to access your subconscious minds, what we're going to do is shift some of the stuff that has been ingrained and start to release some of the inner stereotypes that we have about ourselves as Black women so that we can break free of these stereotypes and begin to really honor ourselves. So again, just quoting her, if you want to change a person, the first thing you must do is change their awareness of themselves. So let's get into this a little deeper. We're going to review breaking stereotypes, which I did provide all the links up here in order of how we're going to go through this tonight. So Breaking Stereotypes, Unconscious Bias by Alexis Faber. This was published on October 18th of 2018, so last year, about a year ago. I put the link there. Stereotypes. Why do we as human form stereotypes? Now, just a quote from the article, she says, put it simply, stereotypes help us operate effectively in a complex, fast-paced reality. So as far as survival goes, stereotypes is very, very useful to us, right? You could put things into categories, right? You could quickly say dangerous, not dangerous, food, poison, you know, my offspring, a threat, loved ones versus a threat, right? So this is why we as human beings have developed the ability to categorize things, right? However, we want to get a little bit deeper into it, how it affects us as a community of women. We have something that is called the sapphire, or more popularly known today is the angry Black woman. And we see this all over the place. So I put this link in here, and we're going to skip down just a little bit, and we're going to go to the next link, which is from the Jim Crow Museum of Racist Memorabilia. I put the link there. And we're going to get into what is the sapphire, aka the angry Black woman. Now, you know I love to make sure we're all on the same page, because although we may think that we know what the angry Black woman is, sometimes, you know, we're not exactly clear. We're just going off of, like, you know, a general assumption. So according to this website, the sapphire caricature portrays Black women as rude, loud, malicious, stubborn, and overbearing. Now, how do you guys feel about that? How do you ladies feel about being automatically categorized as someone who is loud, rude, malicious, stubborn, and overbearing? How does that make you feel? Let me hear from you. Do you love and own and cherish the image of the angry Black woman? Because I think some of us do, right? We really love being kind of sassy and doing our, you know, snap back, and, you know, we could roll. A girl, he ain't gonna tell me nothing. We can get up in a guy's face. We can fight. We can scrap. Some of us, I think, embrace that image of ourselves as strong Black women, right? And it kind of seems like it has some positivity to it because we don't take no mess. We're celebrated, right? Celebrated for being sapphires, sassy, talking crap to our men, putting our men in check, rude, stubborn. But this also sometimes can work against us because we're not taken seriously when we're victimized in certain instances, correct? So if something happens to us and we're making a genuine complaint, or, you know, we're kind of saying, hey, you know, this happened to me, sometimes we're not taken seriously because we're seen as stronger than the average woman. So therefore we can take it, right? And where does this actually come from? Where does this stem from? A lot of it stems from, obviously, the plantation, slavery. Black women were not allowed to be delicate. We had to get out there, we had to work, we had to be just as hard as the men. And a lot of times we had to take up for and defend our sons, our family members, our loved ones in the community, on the plantation with us. Sometimes we had to jump in front and be like, hey, please, you know, Massa, don't hurt him, don't kill him. You know, a lot of times we had to be the strong ones, just like our men, even stronger, quote unquote, than our men at times, to try to preserve and protect in our community ourselves and also our offspring, right? So we know this historically, right? So how do we feel about that? I'd love to see some of your comments right now. I only have one from Beverly Wright. Hello, Miss Beverly. I'm so glad you're here. We have a good handful of people in here, so I'd love to hear anything you guys have to say about how do you feel about the angry Black woman, or what was formerly known as the sapphire character. Now, if you look at this link, it's going to give you the history of where the sapphire character sort of originated in the media, because this was something that was perpetuated in Hollywood, and it's still, an angry Black woman is still the main ingredient when it comes to Black television, Black movies, Black media. And so I'm just going to throw this out there. Who is one of the people that you can think right now, one of the actresses who is the most famous in today's times for playing the angry Black woman? Actually, there's two. One of them is a film star, and she's a comedian. The other one is a comedic actress, and she plays on various TV shows. Let me see what you guys, come on, let me see these comments. Who is it? One of them used to star on the show Martin. Does that give you a good hint? Okay, no shade, but one of the ladies is Tashina Arnold. She is known for playing what some would be considered an angry Black woman. She was always at odds with Martin, starting on the Martin show. She was always fussing and fighting with every guy. She was angry, she was bitter, she was rude, she was malicious, she was stubborn, she was loud. That was her carrying on that stereotype. She's made a career of it. Now, no shade to her, but, you know, would she have the career she has today if it wasn't for that stereotype being reinforced by Hollywood? I'm sure Tashina has a very wide range of talent, but has she been given the opportunity to play a different type of Black woman? I don't know. I'm throwing this question out to you. The other person who I think has mastered it and made a career of it is obviously, what is that girl's name? Oh my gosh, all of a sudden it's slipping my name. Tiffany Haddish. Tiffany Haddish, that's her name. So she had a movie where she came out with, what's his name? Kevin Hart. And it was called Night School or something like that. And even on the poster, you have her being like, and Kevin being like, and it's like so stereotypical and so crazy. You know, you're like, luckily nobody really supported that film. I think we as a community kind of like picked up on the subliminals there and were just like, that's not my cup of tea. Lenore Taylor says, we have a right to be angry. Our men don't want us. White women hate us and white men want to use us. Who wouldn't be angry? Thank you, Lenore, for bringing this up because I definitely wanted to touch on this, but you brought it up earlier. Thank you, my darling, for being here. Okay, so do we as Black women have the right to be angry? And should we have to feel ashamed for feeling what we have the right to feel, which is anger? Anger is what? Sadness. Sadness. Hurt. Sadness leads down deeper to being hurt. We as Black women have been hurt. We have been wronged as a community, right? And some people, to take their power back from being hurt, from being violated, we become sad, but then sadness is almost like not acceptable because sadness shows a certain amount of vulnerability. And so what happened is we put on the coat of armor of anger. And anger became a more empowered place for us, some of us, to live in, to operate from. That we were angry, we were upset about all the different injustices that we were seeing, right? However, that has turned into a stereotype that may or may not be working to our advantage. And that's what I want to explore. Like, anger and stress tend to cause us health issues, not only physically, but mentally, because you start to go crazy with all of the negative feelings and emotions and thoughts that you have flowing around inside of your mental and your spiritual. And then that begins to manifest inside the body with overeating, potentially stress eating, emotional eating, maybe smoking, doing drugs, taking medications to sleep better, to calm yourselves down. Next thing you know, you've got lumps, bumps, cancer, diabetes, whatever, and it's manifesting in a physical form. So what I'm trying to touch on tonight is, how do we self-correct? How do we honor ourselves and break free from these stereotypes? Okay, this is about a mindset evolution. So I'd love to hear more, right? Lenora, absolutely. I am going to say, yes, we do have a right to be upset. We have a right to be angry. We have a right to be sad. We have a right to be furious about some of the things that have gone on in the past, present, and some of us are even like, oh my God, worried and concerned about what could potentially happen in the future. But I'm going to say that we don't want to live there. We don't want to take on that is who we are. Or matter of fact, what we may want to do is release ourselves and let go. We want to heal the angry Black woman. As a collective, as individuals and collective, I used to be angry. I used to be an angry woman. I was upset about everything. I had taken that on. And some of that I think was projected onto me subliminally from the television shows. Every television show I was watching, there was an angry Black woman, right? You're watching The Jeffersons. You got Florence the maid talking crap to her employer, her boss, who, they're living, they done made it, moving on up. And you got Florence right in front of, his wife, just talking all kinds of stuff to him. Like, she needs to be checked in real life. You know what I'm saying? Because who's going to let their, maid talk that kind of mess to their husband who's providing a nice lifestyle? Then you have the other TV shows. Oh, there were so many. It was Good Times. It wasn't as much of the satire. I think, what was the girl's name? The sister. She was the one who was more going back and forth with JJ, and JJ was seen as a clown and dynamite and all of that, and she was always bickering with him. And I just think these things you start to pick up on them subliminally. Even if you look at the sister, it was kind of subtle, but remember on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, the sister, the light-skinned girl who was Will's cousin, didn't they bicker quite a bit? And then she used to put Carlton down. It was just like it was never this cohesion between Black men and Black women at the forefront. At the forefront, even if you think about Family Matters, you had this back and forth that was going on between Laura and Steve Urkel. She was constantly putting him down, even though he was the smart brother. And, he had the solutions for certain things. He was just too goofy. And that was another subliminal that we can touch on in another video of how they made the smart Black man who was successful in school, who had a future, who was in his books and knew what he wanted to be when he grew up. And it wasn't a football player or a drug dealer. They did a number on us with that one, because now we all have this thing in our mind where we think that those type of Black men are just super corny, have no swag, and are not desirable as partners. But I digress. So let me get back into the review of the Jim Crow Museum. Right? It's the Jim Crow Museum from Ferris State University, the Jim Crow Museum of Racist Memorabilia. Again, the link is there. You can check this out for yourself. But the sapphire caricature portrays Black women as rude, loud, malicious, stubborn, and overbearing. That used to be me. I'm not even going to lie. Right? So I had to take myself through a mindset evolution. This is the angry Black woman, ABW, popularized in cinema and on television. She is tart-tongued and emasculating. She's always tearing down the man's, his manhood. He ain't a man. You ain't no kind of man. I wish you would just be a man. We know this, right? We've seen this in every single movie. Think about Friday, one of the classics. The girlfriend who comes over there and she's like, I know you ain't. How many times have we seen this? It's just, even when I look at Cardi B and her imitation of us as Black women is what? A sapphire, loudmouth, hypersexual, malicious, stubborn, overbearing, always putting things in your face that you don't want to see or need to see or want to hear, always speaking her truth and living her best life and keeping it real. Those are traits of the angry Black woman, right? So here we are. On one hand, one hand is on the hip, the other one is pointing and jabbing, violently and rhythmically rocking her head, mocking African-American men for offenses ranging from being unemployed to sexually pursuing white women. She is a shrill nagger. So she's always nagging and picking at her man, right? Or whoever, with irrational states of anger. She gets angry about anything. Any and everything is just bothersome to her. Okay? And indignation, and is often mean-spirited and abusive. In particular, this can show up on how she handles her children, right? Now, this is in the cinema, in the media, right? Okay, so although African-American men are her primary targets, she has venom for everyone, for anyone who insults and disrespects her. The sapphire's desire to dominate and her hypersensitivity to injustices make her a perpetual complainer, but she does not criticize to improve things. Rather, she criticizes because she is unendingly bitter and wishes that unhappiness on others. And I think that's a key point, because it's not like the angry Black woman is seen as this person who comes in and is like, look, pointing out these things, right? And saying, look at this. How can we improve this? So they're basically saying the angry Black woman is not a person that is solutions oriented. The angry Black woman is just stewing in bitterness and wants you to fall into her stew of bitterness so you can be bitter and angry and see all the injustices too. Now, does some of this ring true in our community, ladies? Have we ourselves been guilty of being subconsciously brainwashed into living this in our own lives, like living this as a truth in our community in some ways? I think we may be able to take a look around at some of our friends and some of our family members in our close community as well as the wider community and be able to say yes. And we support this by watching things like reality shows, Real Housewives, bitter, bickering, stubborn, malicious, loud, rude women. Gorgeous women, right? They try to kind of quote unquote counterbalance it by making these women look gorgeous. But what are they? They're sapphires. They're angry Black women. They're stereotypes. And a lot of us are guilty of supporting this. Remember the Jerry Springer show where they had all these stereotypes coming on and we were watching it? Why? Because there's something inside of us that was resonating with that. How do we free ourselves from that? The sapphire caricature is a harsh portrayal. Strong Black woman. Angry Black woman and strong Black woman. They go hand in hand. They go lockstep. Strong Black woman is a stereotype that does not allow us room to be victims, to be vulnerable, to be people who are soft, who are feminine. And when I say victims, I'm not saying that we want to be victims, but sometimes we have been victims of whatever. Abuse, wrongdoing, offense, all kinds of things. I'm sure we could go down the list, right? But being strong does not allow us. Being the angry Black woman, getting upset does not allow us the room because of the stereotype to be taken seriously. It doesn't give us the room or the space to feel the hurt, the sadness, the vulnerability. And it doesn't give us space to be women, to be feminine, to be soft, to need protection, right? It forces us to do it all ourselves and just get over it and not deal with our problems. And that's what I'm here to talk to us about today. I'm here to help us with the help of Dr. Tawede Grills, identify this inside of ourselves and to release our attachment to the angry Black woman, to the strong Black woman. I'm saying today that, ladies, we can let it go. I'm asking permission, if you will allow today for me to tap into your subconscious mind, for you to access your own subconscious mind, and we can say, I release the angry Black woman. I let her go. I am no longer attached to that. I have some new affirmations for you that we're going to touch on towards the end of this. And I'm hoping that, if they resonate with you, please, by all means, institute them into your lives. If they don't, come up with your own. But we do not have to be angry Black women or strong Black women anymore. We can be feminine, beautiful, vulnerable in a healthy way. We can take the time to care for ourselves. We can, and we will, and we do have the power by the Creator to self-correct, to self-heal, ultimately to self-love. So, but it is more than that. It is a social control mechanism. That's what I'm getting into, y'all. The sapphire character is a harsh portrayal of African American women, but it is more than that. It is a social control mechanism that is employed to punish Black women who violate the societal norms that encourage them to be passive, servile, non-threatening, unseen. So I want to make this very, very clear right now. We can also free ourselves from that aspect of the extreme. Hey, Jay, thanks for joining. I see you in here, sister. Appreciate you. So I'm saying that we can free ourselves from that pendulum swing, okay? If you're not the angry Black woman, you're just a passive. Look at her. What's she over there? She just put up with anything. She is weak. No, that is not us either. That's not us either. We get to decide who we want to be as individuals and as a community of women. This is what I am continuously harping on, ladies. It is up to us to decide who we are as a group and as a community of women. What is going to be our code of conduct? As a feminine woman, as feminine women, as women who enjoy and love being women who are Black women, who love and enjoy being melanated women, who see ourselves as princesses and queens, right? Women, we are neither strong, angry Black women, nor are we passive and servile and quote unquote non-threatening and unseen. I see me. I see you too, sis. We have to see and recognize each other. But first and foremost, we have to see ourselves. We have to love ourselves. I have to love myself. That's when I began to heal and let go of the angry Black woman. When I started to forgive my mistakes. When I started to say, I love me. And I don't care what anyone else thinks. I don't care what white people think. I don't care what other Black people think. For the moment, I am focused on loving me. That's where it starts. Getting right with self. Yes, ladies? Yes, my beautiful, my brilliantly beautiful, gifted beings, my Black queens out there. Yes, this is my love letter to you as always. I love me, I love you, and I want you to continue to grow in loving yourselves. You may not agree with everything that I have to say, but one thing I hope that we can always agree on is that you loving you is the absolute most important thing that you can do for yourself, your family, and the community. We must love ourselves. Let's get deeper and deeper into this. And I want to say thank you guys so much for joining me every Sunday evening at 7 p.m. Pacific time and 10 p.m. East Coast time at FlyNubianQueen.com, the network for melanated women just like you and me. I'm so excited that I am here. I want to thank everybody at FlyNubianQueen.com for allowing me the opportunity to share my thoughts with you guys, to bring this information to you ladies, and for us to have this type of interaction here. Like, you have no idea how important this is for us to be able to have a space like this, to come together and talk about these things. And I don't see a lot of comments in there. Let's see. Let me see. Oh, you guys have a few here. Yay, Tiani. Hey, girl. I'm so glad you're here. Meek News says, you need help? Okay, baby. Well, we're getting there. Meek's New Me says, this young lady. Cardo Valentino says, no regrets. Meek New Me says, is she Black? Cardo Valentino Pecan Brown. You guys are so funny. Thank you so much for your comments. And Tiani Chioke says when. And then Leonda, Logan, it starts with a relationship with God. Absolutely. Now, I believe in God. I believe in the Creator, but everyone here may not have that same belief. But whatever your spiritual affiliation or non-affiliation is, understand that there is something inside of you, some type of force that you need to connect with and bring forth that self-love. Okay? However you want to do it, just connect with the inner self. That's the first step. So, I want to get into a couple more things with Dr. Grills. I love this woman. She's out in LA somewhere. I'm going to try to track her down. Not as a stalker, but, see if I can get a hold of her and get some more guidance from one of our leaders in psychology. Again, I just want to give her props because she was the president of the Black Association of Psychologists at a certain point in time. So she knows her stuff, guys. So I'm pulling from someone who's an authority, and she has focused her life and her life's work on how to heal the mental health and free the community from mental slavery and from the curse of Black inferiority. So let's get into this a little deeper with a couple more things from her. So let me see, what would be the next? We want to get into this. Okay, so this particular clip here, hold on my peeps. Okay, so this particular clip here is unless we are able to understand and articulate the issue from multiple points of view, including our own, we are only going to continue to perpetuate the stereotypes. So breaking stereotypes, let's jump ahead a little bit, right? So breaking stereotypes, right? I touched on that earlier. It's called The Unconscious Bias by Alexis Faber, Faber. And this was on October of 2018, this particular article. Again, the links are there. So, stereotypes in ourselves. Without knowing, sometimes we can apply these stereotypes and unconscious bias to ourselves. Now, for example, we may assume without realizing that a pilot, for example, a scientist, a surgeon, or an IT expert has certain characteristics. Yet these characteristics may not be based on the rational assessment of what those professions entail. Rather, they may be based on prior associations or stereotypes related to what these professions, which were traditionally performed by men, right? Some women and girls may incorrectly assume without realizing that these professions are not for them, or they may not have the right characteristics to do them. So this particular thing is not geared towards us, right? But I want us to understand what this person is saying, because she is gearing her article towards stereotyping in the workplace. We've experienced that, right? You come in as a Black woman, you're doing your thing, and somebody does whatever they do, and it's wrong that they're doing that, and you check them and you're like, hey, excuse me, oh wait, there's no me, oh, you don't have to get so angry. And you're just like, I'm not even angry, I'm just basically saying like, hey, don't take stuff off my desk without asking, right? But you're immediately stereotyped. So if you can see it from that point of view, what she's saying is that without knowing, sometimes we can apply these stereotypes and unconscious biases to ourselves, right? Meaning we start to feed into the stereotype. I've done it. I've caught myself doing it. I'm out here in Hollywood. I'm trying to get cast. Sometimes you gotta shuck and jive to get cast out here. That is a reality. You can go back and look at some of my old work and you will see me playing the angry Black woman, the hypersexed woman. I'm speaking from a place of experience. I'm not coming to you ladies like I am perfect and I've never done anything wrong. We're on this journey together. So what she's saying here is that it's possible that maybe we as a community of women have internalized these stereotypes to where now when a Black woman is not popping her neck and fussing and doing all this, it's like she ain't really Black. How many of us have gone through that? I know I went through that as a child when I used to speak perfect English, and I've told you guys these stories, right? When have there been times in your life when you have subconsciously fed into a stereotype? And maybe you didn't even realize it, but now you can look back and you're like, oh my God, yeah. Wow. I'm telling you, the first thing she said, if you want to change a person, the first thing you must do is change their awareness of themselves. So that's what we are here doing, is we're shifting our self-awareness as a community of women. We're shifting our self-awareness. Take a look at yourself. Are you feeding into that stereotype? I have. I've been guilty of that. I probably still do certain things unconsciously. I am not a perfect person. But what I do is every day I shift, I grow, I change, and I allow myself to exist outside of that box. I am a Black American descendant of slavery. And that is not going to really change, probably not in this lifetime, right? So I'm going to always be a Black woman. And no one can define that for me but me, who I am as a Black woman. Some things I do may connect with other Black women and may be similar, and some things I do may be outside of those stereotypes. And that's what we're talking about. How do we brand ourselves as a community of women? Do we want to always allow the outside to brand us? Do we always want to be internalizing and therefore outwardly displaying and exhibiting our own internal prejudices that's handed down to us from a legacy of slavery? We can free ourselves. So let's get this clip from Dr. Grills.
My favorite African proverb is, until the lion has a historian, the hunter will always be a hero. Unless we are able to understand and articulate the issue from multiple points of view, including from the point of view of those who are the recipients or on the receiving end of this oppressive, degrading image that has been created over generations for Black people, we're only going to continue to perpetuate the stereotypes.
So did you hear what she was saying there? Unless we are able to understand and articulate the issue from multiple points of view, including our own, and I would even hesitate to say that most importantly, our own. We have to understand and articulate who we are as women. What do we think about ourselves as women? Who are we? We have to define that as Black women in the community. Who are we? Let me hear from you. Who are we? Let's start defining some of that right now, the good and the bad. Who are we, and how can we begin to really get in control of this? If we don't look at it from multiple points of view, if we don't understand it from multiple points of view, theirs, ours, and everyone else's, our men's, our kids, if we don't start to see it, and then most importantly from our own viewpoint, we're only going to continue to perpetuate those stereotypes. So basically she's saying, wake up. We gotta wake up. And we have to stop sleepwalking through this, ladies. Now, I know we have a group and a community of very conscious women here, and I appreciate that, and I see that. But I want to hear from you, ladies. Who are we? All right. Leonda Logan says yes. Marshall Cotton says exactly. And Marshall Cotton says yes. Okay, so I want to hear some more comments from you guys, please. You know, I love to interact, and I really prefer to have this be a 2-way, 3-way, 4-way, 5-way, 6-way, a 50-way conversation, because we got about 50 people in here right now. And if you haven't already, please give us the thumbs up. Please like, subscribe, and share. Please share this with younger women as well. We are here to self-correct. We are here to grow. And we're all opening our subconscious mind so that we can set upon a different path of who we are as women. We're evolving our mindset. We're shifting our mindsets to decide how we want to present ourselves as Black women. There's no right or wrong answer here. It's just about freeing ourselves mentally. Let's heal the angry Black woman. Why is she angry? We know. Slavery, the injustices, killing our kids in the street, all these different things. She has a right to be angry. She has a right to be hurt. She has a right to be sad. But we don't want to live in anger. We don't want to live in stubbornness. We don't want to live in maliciousness. Yes, sometimes we want to scream, and you have every right in that moment to scream out. Absolutely, but you don't want to every day be that person that's always angry and screaming. It's about taking those moments to feel your feelings and then take care of yourself. Allow yourself to cry. Go to a therapist if you need to. Meditate, yoga. Be good to yourself. Honor yourself, ladies. And look inside yourself. And if you feel that maybe you are going around as an angry Black woman, a strong Black woman, or whatever, you feel like this is who you have to be, I'm here to tell you that you do not have to be anything but you. All you have to be is you. And we're going to get a little bit deeper into this before we end, right? Because we got to go deep so we can dig out the root of this. And it starts with us. We have a nice handful of people here, and we want to take these messages back to our family, our friends, and our community. But it has to start with you. So just love you right now. Okay, so we want to do another, let's see, I think I read all the quotes. Again, there are links there. You guys can go deeper than me on your own time because we only have an hour. But I'm so glad you ladies and gentlemen are here. Thank you so much. Let's see, our next clip is again going to be from Dr. Cheryl. Oh, but before we go there, I'm back to Breaking Stereotypes, Unconscious Bias by Alexis Faber, right? So she has another area. How do we break the stereotype, the unconscious bias in the self? So long as unconscious bias and assumptions remain unconscious, I bit my tongue. So long as unconscious bias and assumptions remain unconscious and out of awareness, they can interfere with our thinking processes and our perception of selves and our peers. They can put obstacles in our way and can prevent us from fulfilling our aspirations and achieving our potential. By learning what stereotypes and unconscious bias we tend to have towards ourselves and how they influence our thinking about ourselves, I'm kind of adding the ourselves in there, we can learn to identify them and disable their effect in our decision making. Let me hit that one more time. By learning what stereotypes and unconscious biases we have about ourselves as Black women. And come on, let's be real. We live in America, and this is insidious. That means it's everywhere. It's in the walls. It's in the air. It's in the ether. Even the most conscious and woke Black people still have a little bit of it there, right? So let's be real about that. By learning what stereotypes and unconscious bias we tend to have about ourselves and people in our community and how they influence our thinking about ourselves, we can learn to identify them and disable their effect in our decision making. That means that we become empowered, ladies and gentlemen. We become empowered when we get woke, as they say. Stay woke. Niggas creeping. And you know who those niggas are that's creeping? Those internal demons, that conditioning that puts us to sleep and makes us act in ways that are working against us. as individuals and as members of the community. This is how we begin to free ourselves. Freedom comes first on the mental, the internal, spiritual, then on the physical, right? So we may seem like we are free in a lot of ways, but the way we operate by calling ourselves certain things such as the N word, right? That is a form of mental slavery. That is a form of stereotyping ourselves. We can free ourselves from this. Let's listen to Dr. Greggs.
What has happened over time, across generations, is an internalization of the degradation of what it means to be Black.
An internalization of the degradation, degrading, the lowering, the devaluing of what it means to be Black. Have we internalized this? We go and we support these reality shows, these movies, these TV shows that portray us in the most negative and unflattering light. Loud, stubborn, malicious, complaining, always talking about a man, all up in his face and barking at him and telling him he ain't nothing and la 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 and ready to fight. Is that who we are? I mean, hey, I am a person who's coming to you ladies, to the community, and asking, is this who we are? Is this who we want to be? It's the same question I asked about the thought culture. Now, if we as a community and collective of women decide that, okay, we're okay with being angry Black women, then by all means, go forward. But I think a lot of us are suffering through this. I know I was. I was very angry. I was very bitter, very lonely. I was fighting, constantly fighting externally as well as internally. And I really didn't appreciate myself, to be honest with you. If I really am completely honest with myself and with you, I did not appreciate myself. I wasn't respecting myself going around being that way. And I wasn't as in touch with my femininity as I am now, where it's like essential to take care of myself, to love myself, to eat right, I was overweight during that time. And I was abusing myself spiritually, mentally, and also physically by being so angry. Anger is a negative emotion. It's a negative vibrational energy. And yes, we do have a right. I am not trying to take away from our right to feel our feelings in the moment. When I saw those Black boys getting killed, I cried, I was angry, I screamed, but I did not live there. There are things that we can do in our community. There are things that we can do to help to win this war, but I don't think we need to internalize all of that negative energy. It's not good for us, and it's part of what's keeping us mentally and spiritually chained to stereotypical imagery and engaged in watching and hypnotized. Turn that stuff off. Stop watching those shows. Don't go watch those movies. That is not who we are. And you know what? I would even say that stuff ain't even funny. I used to find it funny, but now I don't find it funny. I look at that stuff and I say, you know what? That's sad. That sister looks like she's hurting. She's angry. What's going on with her? That's how I think about it now. I think about that sister from a place of love. What does she need? How can I help? I don't find that stuff entertaining or engaging in any kind of way. I see it as what it is, unhealthy and somewhat sick. No woman should be walking around angry all the time. If you have some stuff that you're dealing with, then by all means, I support you in love. Deal with it. Go handle it. Go see your therapist. Go do your yoga. Go read that book. Do whatever it is that you need to do to get right and love yourself. I think I have another clip from this last clip from Dr. Grills. I really love this woman, and I'm so happy that she focused her life's work on emancipating us from emotional slavery and mental slavery, because that is one of the key pieces. That's one of the last pieces, the last bits of change that need to be unlocked so we can go out here and claim these thrones. We're Black women. We're the most brilliantly beautiful, gifted beings to ever grace this planet, this universe, dare I say. Okay? And it's time that we own it. We lovingly own who we are as queens. All right, let's hear Dr. Grills.
Imagine that you have this newborn, beautiful baby girl in your arms, and you're holding her, you're looking at her, you're full of love, you're cherishing her. How do you hold on to that and help her carry that throughout her life? But here's the thing, that little girl that you're holding, it's you.
It's you. Did you hear what Dr. Grills is saying? That's how we're going to do it, right? You must love that little girl. This is how we're going to break free of the stereotypes, ladies. I want us all to look in the mirror right now. You must love that little girl wholeheartedly, unconditionally. That little girl is you, the grown woman. The woman you love is you. You have to tell yourself every day, I love me unconditionally. You have to take care of yourself. We have to love ourselves. We cannot look outside for anyone else to do it. And we have to reject images of ourselves that is put out by the larger culture, aka stereotypes. We have to ignore those things. We have to reject them and say, no, I know who I am. I am a brilliant, beautiful, gifted being. I am a Black woman. That's where we are today. That's how we self-correct. That's how we honor ourselves. And what does it mean to honor yourself? According to Google, high respect, great esteem under the noun. Adherence to what is right or to a conventional standard of conduct, integrity. We got to get into integrity with ourselves, with who we are as Black women, as American descendants of slavery, as Black Americans, as foundational Blacks, however you want to self-identify. That is fine with me. But I need you to get in integrity with who you are as a woman and release yourselves from the stereotypes and the negative conditioning from our society. As a verb, honor is to regard with great respect. We as Black women deserve respect, and respect comes from within and radiates without. It's not about, you need to respect me. It's about me respecting myself so that others have no choice but to follow suit and honor me and respect me as the brilliant and beautiful queen that I am, and you are. Allow me, queens, those of you who are still here and present, to give you and leave you and honor you, uplift you, and celebrate you with these new affirmations. I am fulfilled. To honor myself. Honor also means to fulfill an obligation or keep a promise or agreement, right? So the affirmations are, I am fulfilled. I am privileged. I am glory. I am prestigious. I am virtuous. I am esteemed. I am a Black woman, the most brilliantly beautiful, gifted being, and I deserve the best that life has to offer. I hope you received that, queens. I love you guys so much, and I feel so honored to be here to share this moment with you, to celebrate who we are as women, and thank you so much for joining me as we free ourselves from this negative conditioning, as we free ourselves from being angry, as we free ourselves from the stereotypes, as we allow for ourselves to be fulfilled in all our highest hopes, visions, and dreams. As we are privileged, I am privileged. As we are glorified, I am glory. As we are prestigious, as we are held in high esteem and prestige, I am prestigious. As we are women of virtue, I am virtuous. I am esteemed, and I am a Black woman, a queen, the most brilliantly beautiful, gifted being endowed by God. And it is time I own it. Have a wonderful Sunday night, queens. I love you. Please subscribe to flynubianqueen.com on YouTube, on Facebook, Instagram, and iTunes. Have a wonderful, blessed evening. Hit me up on Instagram, Deena Jacobs Flauntz. Good night.